Welcome, everyone, to Arn and Arn. Today's show is presented by FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Four Horsemen Network. I'm your host, Paul Bromwell, back with you once again, and as always, joined by the Hall of Famer, the founder of the Four Horsemen, the creator of everybody's favorite move, the Spine Buster. He's Double A. He's Arn Anderson. Arn, you're back, fresh from Mississippi last weekend. How you doing, my friend?
I'm sitting in the daylight.
It's daylight savings time happening, and it's still sunshine out here for us, man.
Yeah, I hated that getting dark at 5:30.
Yeah.
Didn't like that at all. So I'm a happy camper where that's concerned.
Yeah, no, I'm great. I'm loving it too. It got up to 76 degrees here where I'm at. So before we turn into the old guys talking about the weather all the time, I'm loving it. Spring is about upon us. So that's good. And it just improves the mood a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'm digging that. But you said to me, Paul, as soon as we get on the show, I got to talk about my appearance with EPW Wrestling out of Mississippi and the experience that you and Brock had recently. So I'm going to let you kind of share a little bit about that, meeting the fans. You got to sell some merch and say hi to some folks, but just the job that this group out of Mississippi did for you and Brock.
I've been treated very nicely and very respectfully where the business is concerned pretty much my whole career. I've never had an instance where I was cheated or racked up or whatever
Taken
you want to
advantage
say.
of. Yeah.
Any of that by any promoter. But let me tell you something. I was treated better in that town by that promotion, those fans. I have never seen a promotion friendly towards the talent. I've never seen such a tremendous job of the company put that on where the fans were concerned. It was just phenomenal. They treated me and Brock like gold. Just wanted to say thank you to that company.
Sure.
They do a tremendous job. They got a great fan base. They got great talent. It was awesome. So I wanted to open the show up with just saying thank you on behalf of Brock and I.
Sounds like a first-class operation, and I want to share their Instagram handle, their website with everybody so you can check them out, support them, go visit them if you're in the area. EPW Wrestling MS. That's from Mississippi on Instagram. Follow them, throw them some love. They're also EPWWrestlingMS.com. But Arn, you were raving about, them being a first-class outfit, and I'm so happy to hear that they took great care of you in terms of just the whole experience from your arrival all the way through until you left. And it's great to hear there are still good people out there that respect the business and respect guys and gals like you and Brock. So it's great to hear.
Well, they're huge wrestling fans, and I am a huge fan of theirs now for what that's worth.
Nah, very good. Very good. Speaking of huge wrestling fans and being fans of people in the business, there is some big news that broke since the last time you and I were together. And it involves someone that's very close to you. And, him and his wife are close to you and your wife. He really helped you out in the business. He was here with us on a show. You can check it out in the archives, none other than Barry Darso. He and Bill Eadie as Demolition were announced as going into the WWE Hall of Fame. So we want to say big congratulations to them. But Arn, isn't that awesome that they're going in finally?
Way overdue. Way overdue. As deserving as anybody else that's in the Hall of Fame. So thankful. What a pro both of those guys are. It's just one of those things that who knows why it took so long, but, who cares? It's the fact that they are in the Hall of Fame and well-deserving. So congratulations, Bill, Barry. I was honored to share the ring with you on many occasions and thankful that I got to be in there with two pros like you guys.
Man, it's so good, so great. I know you get to probably see him more than I do at different shows, but when I was in Charlotte with you, I got to walk over and say hi to him. We got pictures with him, with Barry. So just couldn't be happier. Two great guys and just awesome as a tag team. Such big time tag team for the WWF back in the day. Made a huge impact, and I know so many fans are excited for them. Speaking of fans, our family, the extended Anderson family, they're all here. I see you all in the chats. I see a super chat already coming through, and listen, we love this. This is the best part of the show. Sure, we're going to talk about October 1996 and everything that happened. But some of the most fun I have, Arn, is just interacting with all these folks here, and they make us laugh and share things that are going on in their life. So I just want to take a moment and shout out all of you that are here, and we'll have some fun and get to a lot of your questions, but appreciate you being here and supporting us as you always do. I saw a few of them commenting, by the way. Arn, there was a debut at Elimination Chamber. Someone came out of a crate, a surprise, by the name of Danhausen. Formerly, he's been in AEW and other promotions. He's now in the WWE, and it prompted, our social media team to revisit the time that you were in Smoky Mountain and we had the big reveal to Jim Cornette and his group, and they brought you out from underneath of a sheet, and you were kind of said, "I don't know about coming out of a crate, but this is how it was done for me." Got a lot of attention on social media. And then there was the birth of this, Arnhousen. Arnhousen made his debut on social media. Buddy, what are your thoughts on Arnhousen? Where would you even start? I mean, could you?
I don't know where to begin.
What about applying that face makeup? Would you be able to do that yourself back in the day? You think? Would you need help? Like, what would that even look like for somebody like you?
That's such a professional job. It is a miracle whoever put that together that they got it that good. Because look what they're working with.
It's artistry, brother.
There's an evil monster on the outside and one on the inside of that paint job.
The face matches the inside. I love it. Listen, not only did we all love it, but a guy that you worked very closely with in his career loved it so much, he posted it on his Instagram account, none other than John Cena. And he and his 21 million followers loved it as well. I saw Natty Neihart commenting, a bunch of others. But, man, this went viral. Pretty cool. Arnhousen.
Wow. That's a lot of people in it.
Oh, it's a lot of people. And this has been fantastic to see how it's just gone viral, and it obviously struck a chord with Cena and others, I'm sure, online. But it's like, oh, I can't wait to pop this up on the show.
Well, we got to give the guy credit that deserves it, right? Don't we?
Oh, let's do it. Tell us. You know who it is.
Marcus, you did it again, my man.
The brainchild behind it all.
Talking about a creative guy. He's also got a hell of a wrestling career.
He's got a hell of a wrestling career.
It's starting for him. He's getting better all the time. A lot of good remarks about how much he's improving. So congratulations on that. If you love the business, you're either in or you're out.
Listen, he's a talented social media guy. So if you're looking for someone who knows what they're doing in that space, right, Arn? I mean, you got the best there. He's very, very talented. But now that was his latest masterpiece. Let's throw it up here again because we can. Arnhousen, come on. I think you could sell that picture and at merch tables, and people would be all over it. I think I saw somebody in the comments ask for a T-shirt of that. So I don't know.
Well, hey, I got a feeling that would be encroachment.
Yeah,
on another guy's gimmick.
Yeah, I don't want to worry about gimmick infringement or messing with a trademark, but I think that's a lot of fun. So, speaking of trademarks, Arn, we're just going to keep transitioning here because we got a lot to cover, and the comments are pouring in. I want to get to it. FourHorsemenShop.com. Yes, we show every time we come on here, and again, it's all to make sure that you're getting all the great stuff that you enjoy and love. We talk about it all the time. The Arn Anderson signed autograph. Listen, these are dwindling over. We started with, I think 70 some. We've sold over 50 of these autographed. So they're starting to really wind down. So you got to get your hands on it. But hot off the press, it doesn't get any hotter than this. Sean Blanchard, who is a friend of our team's, Dominic D'Angelo, has provided some classic retro graphics of classic Horseman shirts. Sent one to Dom. We got it on the store right before we went live tonight, and I'm going to debut it right here. Four Horseman shop. You're watching on YouTube. We're calling it Styling with the Horsemen. It's you, Lex, JJ, Rick, and Tully suited and booted in this classic logo. Arn, you saw, I showed it to you before, and you said, I remember that shirt.
Yeah, I do.
And it's available in black, vintage black, navy, true royal, and heather gray. And it's on the site now, live, right before we went on the air. But, man, talk about how cool that T-shirt looks, buddy.
That's from a special time for those that know and lived in that time and were fans of that era. You'll remember that for sure.
Oh, it's my favorite era, the Crockett era. It's Darren Staley's favorite era, the Crockett era. It's so many others of you's favorite era.
Mine.
And Arn's favorite era. And what an awesome piece of merchandise. So, guys, gals, definitely check that out. Arn, while we're wrapping up the shilling, I have to mention it because by the time we do our next show, which is Ask Arn Almost Anything, which I think, what do we got, the 10th right now? We're going to look at March 24th, if you're good for that. That's a Tuesday night. While you check that out. But by the time we get there, it would have already been Rumble in Rome. That weekend before would have been your big event at the Forum River Center there in Rome, Georgia. We've been talking about it for several weeks. I feel like several months now. But, man, it's happening. This is how time flies. It's Rumble in Rome. You're going to be there. So many other stars on the graphic. A lot of your friends, Brock, the whole family's coming down for this. So we want to make sure that you all check it out and see it and be a part of it. But, man, what a great time that's going to be.
I know I mention him every week, but he's really a good guy and one of my oldest friends on earth, not just in the business. Probably he is my best friend. We started out about 7 or 8 being best buddies. So he's doing
7
a lot
or 8
of
years
promotion.
old.
Yeah, 7 or 8 years old. Yep. And, he's passing the word around. A lot of people are buzzing about it. So, some of my friends, if you got a few hours to kill, come on down. And the show is loaded. They've added some talent. If you can go to the poster, it's top shelf.
I'm jumping over here to the comments while you were sharing that, Arn, and checking it out. And our family is here. Everybody, Daisy Mama, Amy Vaughn, Carl LaFew, Rob Hissom, the Mediocre Warrior, Ducati Guy, Ryan. They're all here. And if I've missed your name, I'll get to it. Trust me. CG's here. But someone just said it's the road to Rome. It is the road to Rome. I think that was you, Rob. And it is. It's very exciting. And I know for you and your family, Arn, the countdown is on and you're getting extremely excited about it. Again, just being able to see some close friends. It's going to be a great event, a lot of great promotion around it. So excited for you all.
Well, we're going to get there early enough to ride around a little bit and let me show Brock a few things that he's heard all the stories. And I think he thinks some of it's BS. So we're going to go see a few things that, would be of interest to him. I think the house that I grew up in would be, when he sees that, it would certainly let him know how lucky and fortunate he's been in the house he grew up in. So
definitely take pictures if you can. Obviously, you're not going in the windows and stopping photos, but if you drive by and are able to take some outside pictures, that'd be cool to see.
Certainly. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
First 23 years of my life, that was the place.
That's awesome. That's good. And you talk about it in the comic book, and now you're going to go get to check it out.
Yep.
Rock. Darth Payne's here, Mediocre Warrior, loving it, loving seeing you guys. I'm glad you made it, Mediocre Warrior. He said, I actually remembered the show this time. Paul, you're supposed to remind me because I'm so scatterbrained. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to keep all the balls in the air for myself with everything going on, but I'm glad you made it. Boss Brad is here, Ryan Nodal, all of you. Listen, we're going to do a couple of the super chats, and then I'm going to jump in, but I know we're going to have time to come back to ask some chats and ask it through the show. Arn, how's that sound to you? Want to grab a couple super chats and then we'll jump into the show tonight?
I want to know what the audience wants. That's what I want. That's what I want.
That's what he wants. That's what he needs. That's what he's going to get. Let's start with Ducati Guy 2000. Now, listen, this is the guy last time that really made us laugh when he asked about you and Ole in the pool, if you were giving each other suplexes as kids or pillow fights. So who knows where we're going to go here, but actually this is a pretty serious question. How much creative input did veterans like you and Ric Flair have in shaping how WCW responded to the NWO?
Well, I would say not much.
Okay.
And that's probably all I should say about it. But we did what exactly was asked of us.
At that point in time, you guys were more, okay, whatever you tell us to, boss. Thanks for the check.
The business is on fire, not just the company. So who's going to kick up a dirt, kick up a stink when things are on fire?
That's exactly right. And if they want Hogan to go over every single night, Hogan's going over every single night, and we're going to do whatever needs to be done to make sure it looks good.
That's exactly correct. It's not broke. Don't try to fix it.
Good question. Paul Bledsoe, listen, I'm Arn's biggest fan. Man, we might have an argument in the chat after that. We got a lot of Arn's biggest fans. September 20th, 1969 is my birthday. How lucky am I? Arnie celebrates the same birthday day as you. Isn't that pretty cool?
Except it was 58.
Yep. Not year, but same day. He gets to celebrate birthday with you.
That's awesome.
That is very cool, Paul. So welcome. Glad to have you here with us. And thank you for the super chat as well. And listen, appreciate all of you being here. We're going to jump in. Somebody's already asking about the BA 81. Hey, Arn and Paul, I'm late. We won't forget about you, man. We're glad to see you. And looks like Daisy had to exit. Sorry, Daisy. She had to go. We love having you here. She's desperately out of time. And so we appreciate you all. Let's jump into the notes, Arn. Let's talk a little bit about October and have some fun, because there's a lot of big stuff that's going on, including some pretty notable arrivals during this time. And behind the scenes, none other than that, shoe-wielding manager of yours, J.J. Dillon. He arrives with the company in an office role. He had just left the WWF. He'd been in various management roles there behind the scenes. He was the VP of Talent Relations, a role which he claims credit for the signings of guys like Triple H, Undertaker, etc. But apparently, JJ quit the WWF. He didn't give any notice. He, closed on his house in Connecticut. So it's a huge blow to the WWF during a difficult period of time. Again, 96. This is prior to the Attitude Era really kicking in. Arn, when your old pal J.J. Dillon comes back into the fold in WCW, what are your thoughts as far as what he'll be able to contribute behind the scenes to the company?
I thought if they would take his advice and listen and use the ideas that he comes up with, he was going to be a valuable asset. No one was sure exactly what role he was going to be in. Strictly backstage, he could have been a manager with anybody and elevated them. So I was happy to see him. Plus, he was a very good friend of mine. I love JJ. I always have. Good to see him walk in the door.
He would eventually move to an on-screen role with the company, but starting out, he was strictly behind the scenes. Did you think, hey, I wouldn't mind seeing him come back out with the Horsemen during this time, or do you feel like that had come and gone at that point?
I've got to be honest with you. I thought that ship had sailed.
Okay.
No disrespect to anybody, but it had been revived and been given CPR, that Horseman gimmick, until it was out of gas.
And, you know, to your point, JJ was Crockett Horseman. And to your, you know, trying to kickstart that again. Some people, the casual fan at this point, who's in on the NWO and Hogan, some would have gotten it. A lot of us would have, but I get it. Darth Payne says JJ's back with the lethal loafers. I love that. Should be a t-shirt. JJ and his lethal loafers. So there, we have that. The Horsemen are also dealt a big blow here in October as well, because a 48-year-old Ric Flair. Think about that, guys and gals. He's 48 years old here. I say that as I myself am 48 years old. It's just hard to believe how time flies. He is now going to be required to have rotator cuff surgery. It's going to sideline him for the rest of this year, obviously. They used an angle with Hall Nash and the Giant attacking him with baseball bats, if you remember this. But according to news at the time, he's going to, you know, have to be protected in the ring moving forward to avoid future injuries too. So did you start to feel like, hey, this could be maybe the wheels are starting to come off this iteration of the Four Horsemen in WCW? I mean, back then, 48 years old feels different than it does now in wrestling. In the 90s, it was considered, hey, that maybe they're past their prime at this age. But what were your thoughts on that?
Well, then they would probably be right. You know, this is a young man's business, and it always has been. And there's a place at the, not at the top of the card, but second to last, third to the last, not last, for a guy that has been a superstar his whole career. And there's, instead of moving them, just moving them out, you can just move them down a little bit. And if done respectfully, it is a normal, you know, state of mind of the business.
It is. John Cena this year, 48, retired. This year, AJ Styles. I know they're all born in 77. This year, they'll be 49 this year, actually, but recently retired. Cena retired last year, you know, in 2025. But they're still going strong. They're doing well. But some of the guys in the chat's point, Ryan, to think being in your 40s back in the 90s felt ancient. Now, not so much. Mediocre Warrior back then, 40s were way over the hill. And that's exactly how it felt back then. It feels so different though now, Arn. Why do you think that is? Is it just where we're at in terms of how people take care of themselves, training, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a different business, and in every respect. You know, we were doing house shows in those days. You were see a lot more talent running on the weekends in different towns versus when it's just television. And the business just basically totally has changed. It is evolved in a lot of ways, gotten bigger in some ways, smaller in others.
Think about what Mediocre Warrior said too, medical advancements. And I have talked to you about this before. With the medical profession where it is now, where it is now compared to when you had your injury, who knows what they could have been able to do look what they've done for Edge and some guys that they thought would never be able to come back and get in a ring that now have been able to come back after major surgeries. But think where we're at in 2026 now with what they can do with medicine and surgeries that back in 96, 97 just weren't capable. They didn't have the technology or the science.
Well, it wasn't long after my surgery where they went through the back that they started going through the front. I think Kurt Angle was one of the first guys. Malenko was in the back, you know. And when you got a big, thick neck, like a lot of wrestlers do, you cut through all that muscle, the healing process, I can't even explain to you how painful that rehab surgery. I mean, I was in the hospital 8 days. It's pretty serious.
We're going to talk about it a little bit because that's coming up for you as far as what we'll cover that period of time here in the next couple months. We're in October 96. You retire August of 97. So we're going to start getting into some of that stuff. And a lot of folks comment in the comments as well, just as far as, you know, the medical advancements, better resources now, etc. And So it has changed. So the news about Flair, though, it's a good transition to what else is going on at the time, because this also starts the arrival of none other than JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett in WCW. And pretty much everybody assumed Jarrett would be another former WWF guy, join the NWO. But instead, he denounces the NWO and eventually aligns himself with all of you, the Horsemen. And we've heard you talk about it before. You didn't really believe Jeff to be a horseman. And that's been a big topic of debate for a while online. But right now, I just want to ask you your thoughts about Double J. He's a second generation wrestler. His grandmother, Christine Jarrett, was a pioneer promoter. And he certainly had a lot of, skins on the wall by 1996. What did you think about Jeff and his work?
Well, I think along with his family, he's contributed probably as much to the business as anybody. I mean, he grew up in the business. His dad was on the territory, and
Yes.
how many guys that became stars had a run through Tennessee. They provided a lot of jobs. They provided a lot of avenues for guys to perfect their craft, and it wasn't on national television or worldwide television. It was local TV. So you could get all that exposure without being overexposed. There was never a question of how good Jeff was or what he brought to the table. It's just people didn't get one fact. You didn't just join the Horsemen. You were chosen.
That's right.
And you don't just step up and say, I want to be a horseman, tag me in. It's the way it flies, because it's a different mentality.
Arn, we showed you a little earlier with your face painted up as Arnhousen. Now, that was unique. But what also was unique around this period for Jeff Jarrett was his wardrobe. I have a picture here I'm going to flash up. What did you think of Jarrett here and that? I mean, could you have pulled that off? Would you have ever tried? What do you think of this gimmick outfit here?
You always pull something out just to trip me up, don't you?
I mean, would it be any fun if we didn't? I mean,
probably
come on,
not.
Man. Yeah.
But let me just tell you, with it beyond reproach, I never sat and checked a guy out over 5 seconds over what gear he was wearing and what it looked like.
Okay. So you weren't like a fashion. You weren't a fashion.
I was not a fashionista.
Yeah.
And I didn't give a shit who else thought they were.
Oh, man.
We're in the fighting business. Wear what's comfortable to fight in. That's my philosophy.
So good. So good. So, but that one's not for you. You don't think you could ever?
I don't think I could pull that one off. No.
No. All right. I got
Tights are good. Boots, knee pads, good to go.
Got it. Someone put in the chat, please make that picture go away. All right. It's gone. It's gone dark. Love it. All right. Let's say this. So, let's continue to go, because the news during this time around October 14th, 1996 mentions there's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's heat among Hall, Nash, Hogan, with Hall and Nash already getting tired of the backup roles, and they're frustrated with the amount of money that Hulk was making. We as fans have heard at times that Hall and Nash could be some shit disturbers behind the scenes, and you were an agent at the time. I'm sure you got to see a lot of stuff unfold. Would you say, just in general, not naming names or anything, but do you feel like because it was so popular and the attention for the camera and the ratings were so high, was it an unusual amount of maybe jealousy or tension during this period of time, more so than any other when you were working at the company?
Well, there were a lot of top guys who were battling politically to be the top guy. You had a lot of guys that were on next to last. You had the guys that were on last, and there's a big gap there, which a lot of people don't believe. But
yeah,
brother, one match from the top means you're not making the top money. And guys that know the business knew that. And there was always that politics to see who had that top spot.
There you go. So it's part of what's going on. It's part of the equation. Just think about it in all of what we do for a living. And There's the top dog. There's you that want to, especially if you're committed and want to get ahead in the business. There's going to be some things, but in the wrestling business, it just feels like it's always to a different degree and a different level. So Arn's agent, he's probably got to listen to a lot of bullshit, but it's probably for you. You're calloused up a little bit to some of that too, having been in the business for so long.
Well, there's nothing I could say or do to change what the officers want to do. All I can try to do is take whatever idea they got and try to make it make sense.
Yep, that's a good role to play. So I love it.
If you know the business and you got something to offer, you can help avoid a bunch of, headaches just by showing guys that we're smart guys, but a different way of looking at stuff.
You, as far as what's going on with you in October, Kevin Sullivan, he must have been having some fun at your expense, because on the October 7th Nitro, you're working with the Renegade. Mike Dene is quick to point out that Renegade defeated you in 1995, but he can stick that right up his ass because the Enforcer comes away with the victory this time after a DDT, and you continue to beat down the Renegade after the match, which then brings out none other than Lex Luger. And Luger himself has a match next, and you'll come out and smash him with a chair after he scores a victory. So the story here is that you believe Luger was responsible for the loss at Fall Brawl. Remember when you all partnered together in the War Games? So the match between you two is now set, and that's going to be at Halloween Havoc. And so the NWO versus the Horsemen thing seems to be heating up, but maybe Ric's injury played a role here in derailing some of that. I'm sure it did. It can't be helpful to the feud. Would you say that you would have preferred to have kept working with the NWO at this time because of just how hot they were? I mean, I would think so.
Well, you got to look at that one way. And then you got to go, well, in the old days, how did you get over? Took a guy that was pretty tough, you put him out. Hurt him, you beat him, you hurt him. You used another talent to get this talent over, and that's the way business was conducted. So it didn't hurt me or bother me. I wasn't going to lose my credibility with wrestling fans because Luger beat me. But if he hurt me and beat me, and Ric had been hurt and he was out, now some guys are getting some momentum. Because I feel like, I don't know, asked our audience, I felt like we meant something. We meant something on the card. We meant something when you did an angle with us, and that was it.
Yeah, the Mediocre Warrior, he said, I loved you putting Luger down for submitting at War Games. To me, it was like, listen, you guys are going into the War Games, not really even friends. You just had a common mission, and that was to not let the NWO take over. But as soon as Luger failed you, it was back to being a horseman, and you're going to pay for it, you know?
Yeah, and if I wouldn't you be disappointed if I wasn't my ass a little?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'd be disappointed if that wasn't what Arn Anderson reacted. Now we did.
You put me out, you beat me. Bye, I'll see you. We don't go down easily. You can get us down, but we don't go down without a fight.
Yeah, you lost the match for us. We'll forgive you. Let's be friends. No, that wasn't Arn Anderson.
Yeah, that was okay, Lex. Don't sweat it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't going to happen. So I think it's also worth pointing out here that on the way to Halloween Havoc, you'll team up with Benoit on a house show and randomly face the Nasty Boys in Minneapolis. The Nasty Boys, they couldn't have been more different from your style, Arn. We hear about how absolutely crazy and nutso those guys are. What were your experiences like working with them? Do you have any fun stories about working with them or anything behind the scenes? Did they eat fried chicken off the floor or anything?
No, here's the deal. If you're looking for a Ricky Steamboat smooth wrestling match, you won't get it with the Nasty Boys. It's a bar fight from the beginning to the end. It's a bar fight, and which is okay. You got to be able to fight in this business and brawl every night. You can't have a Ricky Morton or a Ricky Steamboat to wrestle. So that's cool. Those guys, had their gimmick. They were more fun in the locker room than most guys were in the ring. They were awesome.
Just tell me they didn't shove your face in an armpit.
They didn't shove my face into nothing. But I saw them ribbing guys. They would basically just walk around and rib the shit out of guys and pick at them, you know. I mean, savage. He was like a main target.
Really? Randy was?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. And it was just like they would follow him around. Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
that was the extent of it, but it would drive Randy crazy.
And it's crazy. The ribbers are like the guys that are two against one. The Steiners, you've always heard about their ribs. The Nasty Boys. Again, it's two of them. So it's like, what can you do against that?
Sell.
Yeah. Sell and move on.
I mean, if the Steiners want to tape you to a chair, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. Sell.
Here's the tape. Here, go. Let's just get this over with.
That's it.
Before we get into Halloween Havoc, we got Darren Staley, our buddy, with a super chat. He says, if Piper hadn't bounced in and out for movies, because we're going to get the Piper here at this event, would he have gotten the world title, or was that even the reason he never got the big belt? So we're talking Roddy Piper here. He's going to debut here at the end of Halloween Havoc. Do you feel like it was his movie career was the thing that stopped him from becoming a world champion in his career because of the bouncing in and out, or was that the reason at all? They just liked him being more of an adversary.
Well, he's, you got to be dedicated to be the champion of a wrestling company, because you got to devote every minute of every day to being the champion. You can't be bouncing in and out doing movies and things of that nature. They got to know as a company they can depend on you. And you got to be able to feature every guy that steps through the ropes against you. Piper was great at getting Piper over. Much respect. I mean, he was a guy who knew how to take care of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I would say he's not a great guy getting his opponent over.
Okay.
I think that's
good.
fair.
Yeah, no, that's fair assessment. All right, let's keep it going here, because we're going to get into Halloween Havoc. It is in Las Vegas, and the event is set an all-time record on. To your point, the business is as hot as ever. It set an all-time record for live gate and merch sales, bringing in nearly 225,000 in ticket sales and nearly 70,000 in merch. Now, back in those days, guys, that's a lot. The stuff we hear now is unbelievable and ungodly, and part of the problem why none of us can afford to go anymore. But anyway, back then, incredible numbers. Business is on fire. Arn, you've got a show here in Vegas. Are you going out? Are you having any fun? Are you playing the craps tables? Are you going to, have a little fun, or is it all business despite the setting?
Oh, yeah. Listen, I want to go find the quarter slots, not the high dollar slots, the quarter slots. The Betty Boop Lounge was centered right by the elevators, so you could just pop off the elevator and you walk right in the Betty Boop Lounge. And they got smartened up that if they would make it available to the talent and kind of sequester us off some seating, they were going to do some business.
Okay.
And they did.
And the boys paid them back for that.
The boys had comp tabs, and we were drinking like hell.
Oh, so you're having a good time, loving Vegas, enjoying yourself. And so it's a whole deal here. And I guess that was before the match, because once it all gets going, Arn, it's not a good night for Mr. Anderson at the Halloween.
No, this would have been the night before, or maybe even 2 nights before. You have to get there early, early in the week. Because once I got hurt, I was in the room.
You're hiding. Let's talk about it. So I mentioned that you'd fight Lex Luger that night. He scores the victory with a torture rack, but he also hits you with a steel chair, not once, not twice, 3 times on the back with the chair. Crazy hard chair shots. It's all about revenge from that attack on Nitro. But man, they end up doing a whole scene, man. Stretcher job for you, whole 9 yards. Arn, most of us, thank God, will never know what it's like to be smashed with a steel chair and what that feels like, let alone taking those from a bodybuilder looking guy like Lex Luger. Is there a trick to making sure you're taking them safely, or did you just grit your teeth and hope for the best?
Grit your teeth, mate.
You're probably still feeling that stuff today.
It's a steel chair in the back. There's not a lot of padding on your back. It is what it is, and there's no magic. Getting hit in the back with a chair, or certainly getting hit in the head with a chair, is no fun.
They really did, a number on you in this match.
It's storytelling.
It is. And as I mentioned, you're not going to start wrestling as much as we've gotten used to seeing. We've done like June and July nitros here where you wrestled this guy, the next week you wrestled that guy, and then you're on the pay-per-view. We're going to start seeing some of that action for you start to wind down after this attack. As I said, just a few months away. We're in October of 96. August of 97, you retire. So I think you mentioned to me off air, March was when you had your surgery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're starting to slow down here purposefully then?
Well, once the surgery finished me, it was just, I was off 3 months rehabbing, and that was just to get me back to where I could travel. It wasn't to wrestle. The wrestling days were over.
Was it fair enough to say, though, that after this October, as you got into December, you were already starting to feel some kind of way?
I knew there was something more going on. I was, when your body starts failing you, it's, why is it they're tingling over here? And why is this bicep not strong like it was? And all kind of things. Your body will tell you if you're stupid enough to not listen. Well, that's the story of a lot of our lives. We just kept on and kept on and kept on until it was too late. Right.
Until you're finally forced, and I know it was in the gym when you finally had that, and we'll talk about it when we get there, that come to Jesus memory, like, oh God, I got to go. I got to go to the doctors. Got a problem.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about this. Let's get into the rest of it, because the big news of the night is what happens in the main event. Hogan and Savage square off, Hogan scoring the victory. And after the match, none other than Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, that's right, his first, you think about WrestleMania and everything, the rock and wrestling and all the fun from my childhood that went down between those two, makes his WCW debut. Think about that now. Was he back in NWA days? Sure. The dog collar match with Greg Valentine. But now we're WCW. He debuts. He does a promo as the show goes off the air. And Roddy Arn has been working either in Hollywood or with the WWF since he left Crockett in '83. So here we are. Fast forward all the way to 96. So to have him come out the middle of Monday Night Wars feels like a really big deal here. What did you think of WCW bringing Piper into the roster at this point?
I thought it was a coup. He was a big star. You didn't have that many stars of that magnitude in the business. And that's fact.
It is. It was another name too. And we'd start to see some of that more going on. Eventually we'll see Ultimate Warrior and all these types of things, or the Warrior. But man, at the time, because you just didn't know who was going to show up next, that started back in May with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. It was like, man, surprise after surprise. There was an addiction to the surprise, for us as fans. We just didn't know and what was coming next.
And they were impact players. It wasn't just some Joe Blow walking out of the curtain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Had you spent a lot of time at all around Piper?
Nope.
No, because when you were in WWF, he wasn't, right? 89? I don't even know. Yeah. I'd have to look back. Yeah, no.
And, he did his own thing. He had some creative control, I'm sure, over what he did. I didn't want to get involved in all that.
Yeah, of course.
Politics. That was politics at a different level. There was always that thing with Hogan and Piper.
I gotcha.
Yeah. No, I was just saying it eclipsed any other politics in the locker room.
That was next level politics. It was those two first, and then the rest would fall into place.
You bet.
Did you ever know, Mediocre Warrior? Great question. Did you even know at this point that Piper was coming in, or were you
No,
again? Okay,
no.
I love it. I love when the boys are also surprised
I
at this
like
stuff.
being surprised. It doesn't bother me. I love a
Yeah,
great surprise.
yeah. Let's see what else here. So we have that, and man, what a way to go off the air in October. Um, he wouldn't be working anything close to a full-time schedule with the company. But again, it was just to create the buzz. It's, as you said, Ryan, always, as Bischoff has always said, leave them wanting more. And that was a huge deal to end a pay-per-view for everybody to want to turn on Nitro the next night.
Shock value.
Mm. Well, listen, that's going to do it for October of 96. We're going to do Ask Arn Almost Anything. We have plenty of time here, by the way, to go through and ask some questions. So I'm going to start scrolling up and do some of that. But I want to make sure I tell you to make sure you get on the calendar Tuesday, the 24th, 6 p.m. Ask Arn Almost Anything. And we'll have some fun Q&A with Arn. Also, at the end of this show, Arn has asked me for just a couple minutes. He wants to share some things with all of you as well. But before we get into the next, once we get into next month's show, that's going to be all about November of 1996, the World War III pay-per-view, and everything that that goes on there. So, Arn, how about it? We get back to some of the fans and do some questions here. We got Tim Angstom, who has a question about this time period. He said, Tim says, how much was the ending to your match with Lex based in reality versus selling the angle? I thought it looked fantastic, yet so brutal. So, you know, in terms of you being in real pain, or was this just unbelievable selling?
Both.
There you go.
Only way to say it. There was nothing about it that wasn't legitimate, and it was pointing somewhere. It was an angle that made sense and worked, and I think it helped get Lex over, and that's it.
When are Mediocre Warrior? When are we having the marathon? Ask Arn Anderson anything. Buddy, if you guys have questions, we'll continue to get them all in. I'm going to scroll all the way back to the top, though, and we're going to start getting some stuff. Oh, here we have another Piper question here. Super Chat, a wrestling historian. What was backstage reaction when Piper joined WCW? Do you recall any of that?
Nothing that was over the top. You know, I would have been out by the curtain, so I wasn't in the back. You know, and to get the locker room reaction, I want to see what the fans did live. So I was hit over by, and I didn't know until right before he went out that he was even there. Again, I got a surprise.
They were hiding people back in those days in the bus like they do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, I'll be damned. We got Piper.
Boss Brat 3429. Aren't two questions. Did you ever have a match with Roddy during the territory days? You two would have been fun, and it would have been a great Horseman match. Did you ever wrestle Piper?
Never.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
I mean, that blows my mind. But again, with him having time off a lot through the mid to late 80s and then, you know, into the 90s, I can see that. Crisscross the character.
Just kept missing him.
Yeah. Ryan Noda wants to congratulate you on the Panthers getting one hell of a edge rusher in Jalen Phillips. We just talked about that too. That's the big, they got him from the Eagles. He's got an injury history, but when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the NFL. So there you go. He was on the Dolphins and he went to the Eagles last year, but man, they signed him up. Panthers are spending some money.
Let's wish him well and attack, young man. Attack. We need you. Big time.
CG, it's so great to see you. Michael Jensen jumps in with a super chat. Just wanted to give Lex his due, as his look and work style made him look like a beast. I still say that his debut walk through the mall was A+.
Yeah. I mean, nobody looked any better than him. That's for sure.
You know, and it was cool. Yeah.
And his work got better as it went along. I mean, he was good enough when he first started that we could cover for him and you didn't see any weaknesses. And he looked so, he was flawless. And it wasn't just a musclehead look for a guy that could barely walk. He was smooth. He looked good. He was a pleasant look, and he got better as he got more accustomed to the business. I think he spent some time around Davey Boy Smith when he was up in WWF. It would have helped him. Davey was a very good worker.
Jean-Paul Levine says, loved watching Arn and the Horsemen on WTBS. His throat slash was the best and got me in trouble as a catcher in school, as I do it when I ran over at the plate and got the out. Love you, Arn.
You're welcome.
Oh, man, so good. Let's see here. I want to keep going, getting some good questions in here. Someone talked about it, and so I'll just refer to it, and I'll try to catch up and see who it was. But when we were talking about folks and how long their tenure in wrestling, they mentioned none other than Sting, who was able to do it for such a long time, even though he worked on a later schedule in his retirement year in AEW. Still, his ability to perform was great.
Oh yeah, he had a good run with TNA, right?
Oh yeah, good run with TNA. Had some solid matches in AEW. Yeah.
I'm sure he had some time off between stints with different companies, but still he was never out of sight and out of mind, I don't think.
Not at all. He's awesome. Michael Jensen talks about Luger slamming Yokozuna was something that I'll always remember as a youngster. You talk about moments that stand out in kids' minds. We talk about, some people talk about spine-bustering Vader, these monsters. What about, and then, you got Luger slamming Yokozuna, just these impressive feats of strength. And that was definitely one of them.
Well, and when it is something, spectacular like that, people remember. They never forget it.
Let's see what else. Would Arn sell Roddy's eye poke like Ric Flair used to? Remember when he would do the old eye poke and Flair would just, would you? Yeah, he'd be a pro. Arn's always a pro, mediocre warrior. Did the Horsemen frequent the Waffle House? LOL, Darth Payne. Darth, good to see you.
Oh, yes. On those drives where we would leave an arena and get to the next town maybe at 2 or 3 in the morning, everything else was shut down. If you wanted something to eat, Waffle House was the choice.
Bosco Wilbury, new here, AA. Growing up in my group of friends, I was the enforcer in our group of the Horsemen. So that's pretty cool, Bosco.
Did you kick some ass?
He had to be. If he's the enforcer, he better.
Yep. A lot of contingencies go with that gimmick.
Listen, that's like being a kid in the 80s and you're the A-team and you're B.A. Baracus, bad attitude. That's like who the Arn Anderson was of the Horsemen, the enforcer.
You got to do all the dirty work and do all the fighting.
But you didn't mind flying. B.A. scared to death. They had to knock him out for it. Carl says, Arn would love to have Barry on your podcast. Barry doesn't do many, if any, podcasts. So that would be a hard one for us, I feel like. He's pretty quiet.
Yes, he's very reserved.
Very reserved. But I think that would be a lot of fun if he would. Ryan Nodal, have you both caught any of the World Baseball Classic? Team USA looks amazing. It's the all-star of all-stars, Ryan. Paul Skeens went out and struck 7 people out last night. Roman Anthony and Aaron Judge are just slamming home runs. It's pretty impressive to watch. Have you caught any of the World Baseball Classic at all? Or are you watching any spring training, or have you watched anything yet?
Yeah, I watched the Mexico game last night.
Okay. Yeah. That was the game.
That friggin' Judge is a monster, isn't he?
He is impressive. There's just no doubt about it. Shintendo. I love it. Did Arn work with Bullet Bob Armstrong at any time? I had the pleasure of meeting him and his sons here in Alabama all throughout the 80s and 90s. So Bullet Bob.
I worked with all of them. When I was in Pensacola, I worked with Scotty and Stevie were partners, and Brad Armstrong, who I've said on record was as good as anybody ever in the business. He was that talented. Bullet Bob was the one that they believed would kick your ass. Bob was an ass kicker, big time.
He was the real deal. Arn, I'm going to do one more super chat, and then I'm going to give you a minute or two or three or however long you want to address our audience here. This one is from Michael Jensen. He said, how does Arn feel about Cody becoming champion again? So Arn, he re-won the world title going into WrestleMania. He'll be the champion most likely. He beat Drew McIntyre on SmackDown. Cody is once again the champ. They're setting up him and Randy Orton, who you're very familiar with, for me match.
Well, you can't go wrong going with Cody. And talking about different eras clashing, Randy is flawless. He is the perfect wrestling machine. I think Cody and him will be an interesting melt styles together. They will tear the joint down. I'm happy for both of them. It's got a lot of panache on a match like that.
It's box office, baby. Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes.
It is. That's it. Box office.
Yep. And so that's going to be fun to watch, fun to see all the history of their families in the business, their history working together when Cody and young DiBiase were together with Randy and their group. So it's going to be awesome. One last, we just got a super chat. I'll get it in. And he just thanks for sharing so many incredible stories that made your fans so happy from Ducati Guy. Thank you so much, Ducati Guy 2000, and for contributing. Arn, I'm going to turn it over to you as we close down the show and whatever you would like to share.
Well, making our audience happy. It'd be real easy to come on here and tell a bunch of stories that have never been told and cover a bunch of no-nos and a bunch of, name it. But we always put our audience first, and we want you guys to have a pleasant time. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, guys. If you don't watch TV, start watching. We're in a political situation. The world is really in a mess right now. But more importantly than that, I just use that as a setup to know, look at your family members, look at your pets, look at your neighbors, look at anybody you run into. Just understand one thing. Life does not promise us anything. You're not going to wake up tomorrow guaranteed, and next week or anything like that. The reality is this is a date in my history that I'll never forget.
I understand.
And never get over. Without getting into it, it's will end the rest of my life, however short or long that is. I will never get over today's date. I just wanted to say, hug your friends, hug your neighbors, hug your family. Do something extra for somebody that you don't even know, because life is not guaranteed.
Arn, so well said. I did realize what today's date was for you, and I just want you to know that we all love you, and I think about you. And I didn't even know what to say, but I didn't know that you were going to say that. But I know you got a lot of people here that you're in. And Aaron and Brock, thoughts and prayers with all this. And man, just don't know what else to say other than you're just such a great man and been such a great inspiration. And it goes much further than the wrestling ring. I can truly say that you've just been such a positive influence on my life.
Well, and I'm going to give Smokey a big kiss as soon as we get off the air.
Oh, wow. Are you sure you don't want to do it on the air? I think it would pop the audience.
I don't know where he's hiding. He's taking a nap somewhere.
Oh, man. Listen, we care about you. We love you. God bless you. All in the chat. Much love to you, buddy. Thank you for being willing to do this tonight. And we just appreciate you so much. guys and gals, all of you for being here. We can't do it without you. We do appreciate you, and we do love you. You're part of the Anderson family, as I say, the extended Anderson family. We will be back in 2 weeks on March 24th, 6 p.m. Eastern, for Ask Arn Almost Anything on behalf of the Enforcer, our guy, our hero, Arn Anderson. This is Paul Bromwell. We'll see you next time right here on Arn.